Hello, this is RICKY, the YouTube tech guy. Hey guys, so today we are going to be showing you how to take the absolute best photos and videos with your Galaxy S22. Now here I have the S22 Ultra, so a little bit more zoom features will be on this, but otherwise pretty much the same in terms of how to set it up and how to get it ready, and also how to do some little tweaks afterwards to edit and things like that that we'll go over. So first let's get started with the actual camera app to start with our better photo and video taking. So the first thing is going to be when you first turn it on, you are going to notice this little icon right here. Now this basically helps you with suggestions through your photos. So that's just one thing to know right away. I would always leave it on. It's a good way to always just, not have to do so many automatic things. Then we're going to go to here. So here are your 3 to 4 zooms, depending on which version you have. And you have the wide angle, you have the main camera, you have the 3 times and 10 times and all that kind of stuff. And you'll notice some more numbers pop up down here when you're doing this. However, the other thing you should know you can do is actually this. And that is slide to actually do it. So that's a really helpful tip. If you ever just want a little bit quicker method, just go ahead and slide all the way out, slide in, and just exactly how you want it, simple and easy. Now, the other thing you should be aware of if you're on your main camera on the Ultra, I just want to point out, you typically want to take this focuser enhancer off. This will allow you to get the best actual natural blurring effect photos. So if I take a photo of this one, bam, it will stand out and it will automatically blur the background. So the background is going to be blur when taking this photo. All that background is blurred, natural, kind of like you're seeing this phone blurring the background here. It's a bigger sensor, so it naturally does this. However, if you had it on, what it would then do is actually keep everything in focus. So you wouldn't have as cool of an effect if you did that. So basically, if you want everything in focus, that's cool, then leave it on for that one photo. But most of the time it gives a really natural, professional wow kind of factor if you have it off, and you will get a nice blurred background instead of having everything in focus. So yeah, that is what focus enhancer is if you have the Ultra. Now let's go on how to focus. Well, you can tap right here to always decide what you want to focus on. You can also hold it down and it will stay at that focus level. Even if you move something in closer, it won't become in focus because it's still focused on back there. A good easy way to improve your photo taking is actually tapping it and then generally going a little bit lower. I find if you go a little bit lower, you get a much better shot sometimes. Try it and see if it's better to your liking, but typically if you tap and then go a little bit lower, just a little bit, you will actually get a better overall shot. It tends to over brighten and take away shadows, where if you tap it and then shoot that way, it's going to give you your shadows back and it'll be a lot better photo. So the next thing we're going to want to go to is up here. And that is, you see this dot telling you, oh, shoot in your full 50 megapixel or 108 megapixel mode. You never really want to do this unless you are in a bright area. If you're in a dark area, it won't turn out that well. So I would just naturally leave it on 3x4, and that is perfectly fine for most people's needs. But if you do want to change it, make sure you're in a very bright area or else it won't turn that good. The other thing you should know is sometimes if you want to shoot like photos or images for like TikTok or Instagram, you can also go 9x16, which I usually do for my thumbnail photos, and 1x1 obviously for Instagram. So those are just 2 other methods that you have the ability to do, simple and easy. Then you also have this little icon right here, which is motion photo on. I always recommend turning this on, especially if you have fast moving targets of taking photos, like kids and pets, like I do. So yes, I always want motion photo on. What this will do is you can actually take a photo and then go back and see if there was actually a clear shot in there. And that one was too quick, but I can just save it. And right there is clear. So now I can actually save this one as another photo. Simple and easy, but it's just one thing you should always know to be able to do. Then we have this one right here. Now you can do different filters and all that kind of stuff naturally built into it, but I also just wanted to let you know about the face portion. Now for the face portion, you can turn this on. It's off by default on the main camera and on for the selfie camera by default. So we'll go over that in a second on the selfies. But what this does is a couple of things. So one, it can smooth out your skin, so get rid of wrinkles or acne or even some stubble. You can also change your skin tone a little bit if it's, one of those days and you want to give yourself a little bit of a tan, or it's just not capturing your tone right. You can change the tone a little bit. You can also do the jawline, have yourself lose 5 pounds right away, just without any exercise built in. And also bigger eyes. Say if you have a very late night and your eyes aren't opening as wide as they should, well, then you can make them bigger and it will appear that way. So yeah, those are some quick tips on the faces. Then let's get to the settings you want to change to give you the best overall camera. So first off, there are some that are in the menu, but I'll just go over them here. First one is grabbing this is your shutter and actually being able to move it to wherever you want. So you just drop it down and pick it up. Simple and easy. This is really good when you want to do it at an angle and it's just hard to get to that bottom right there. So you can just move it right there and bam, easier for you to take it. Simple and easy to use. And again, you just put it away when you're done. The other thing you should know is the ability to actually swipe down to do burst shots. So you can go like this, boom, and I just took 29 photos. So burst shots are great, again, if you have a fast moving target, generally with kids in sports or with like dogs running around or something like that would be a great example of when you would want to use a burst shot. And again, just swiping down and doing it. The other one you should know about is if you hold it down. If you hold it down, you will do a standard video quality of 16 by 9, 1080, and just holding it down. And it's just a way to take a quick little video. And now we have a video right away. Now, if you do happen to tap it, now you are just filming. So that's a really new way that they added to this phone that wasn't on past Samsung phones, is now you can actually lock it. So you don't have to hold your finger here the entire time. You can just go like this, and then bam, you're in video mode taking it. You can zoom in, which you couldn't before in this video mode. You can also take a photo real quick. You can pause it. It's stuck at 10 seconds, record again, and stop it. So simple and easy, but just something that you now have the ability to do that wasn't there before, so I do appreciate them adding that feature. All right, now let's go into the settings and go over some of these. So scene optimizer is the thing that I told you earlier that you typically want to leave on, so it adjusts automatically to your scenes. The other thing I would do is if you have a trouble keeping a shot straight sometimes and you want to make sure it is, then go ahead and turn shot suggestion on. This might be good. So like if I had my phone like this and it's obviously not in balance, I can look at it and I'm like, okay, I see. Now this is actually how I want to have my phone. So again, simple and easy. It helps set up your shot so you don't have things at an off axis. Then we have picture formats. Now I really wouldn't change anything here for the most part. There is a way for high efficiency photos, but most programs still can't read that. I would say in about a year or so, I think we'll be at the point where we can start saving at that kind of quality. But until that's there, I wouldn't recommend it, or some people can't actually open your photos, and definitely some programs can't. Then we also have RAW, which again, if you're a professional, then go ahead and use it. Now, this one is really important because it's going to determine how selfies are taken, if they're taken correctly or not correctly. So let me show you what I mean. So this is picture preview on, and this is picture preview off. So I usually like to have it off because I usually like to have text be legible in photos. Basically, anytime you take a selfie and you have any text inside of it, if you want it to look correctly, you have it off. If you don't mind if it's backwards, then turn it on. Okay, for the next shot, it's going to be selfie color tone, either natural or bright. Now, for me, I would say this one doesn't really do much. Like, I don't know anyone that would like a brighter even darker skin tones or anything like that. I've shown it to multiple people of different variations and everyone's like, natural. So I'm not sure what the bright was supposed to help out with, but everyone prefers a natural look. So I'd recommend that. All right, video stabilization, obviously you always want to have that on, so keep it that way. And then recording, again, just leave it as is, but do have the zoom mic on, so if you do zoom into a subject, it is going to pick up that subject. Tracking autofocus is one thing that should be on by default, but usually isn't. What that is for is so you can just tap and it will focus on that subject. Obviously great for photos and videos, so just always have that on. Location tags, I typically always like to have on, but you know, if you don't want to know where your photos were taken, then turn that off. Grid lines is always good if you need it, again, just to make sure you're not off access. And then also shooting modes is one of the most important parts. So we already went over the floating shutter button, but one of the biggest parts is voice commands. This is something you should definitely turn on. So the reason why is there's so many times when I just want to take a photo and it's at an angle, or say like it's behind a TV or something along those lines, behind a computer, and I can just say capture. And there you go. Simple and easy to do, and it's just so great to have. So that's just definitely one thing always, always, always leave on. I always like to have my selfie angle be turned on. It's just one great feature that I personally like to always have. I like to have wider selfies. We'll go over that in a second, but it's just a way to always have it stay. Now, if you do always want to come back to the photo or video mode that you were on last, you can turn that on at the top. Filters, again, leave that on if you want. And super steady we'll go over when we go over video. And then for some of you, you will have the shutter button as an option to turn on or off. Some carriers disable that though, so it will not appear for you. All right, now before we get to videos, let's go over some selfies. So these are the selfies. And again, we have some similar things where you can hit these little three dots and make it a bigger megapixel, but it's not really necessary. Again, you never want to do it unless it's a very bright area. As I told you earlier, go wide. It just doesn't make sense why it zooms in. I don't understand the purpose for that. It literally is just zooming in, so you can move your hand if you want instead, but just always keep it wide. And if you don't want to beautify yourself, you can turn the face off. As I said, it does come on by default on this phone. And just to switch between selfie is going to be swipe up and swipe down. Simple and easy, but if you ever just want to swipe between selfie and regular, that's easier than having to go all the way down here and tap a button. All right, and now we are in video, and the first thing you should know is, again, turn on or off the focus enhancer. If you want to have a great looking natural bokeh effect in your videos, hey, you can have that too. Or you can turn it off and have everything in focus. But you know, I personally don't like everything in focus, so I will have it off and have that nice blur effect in my videos. So that being said, let's get to the most important part now, which is going to be the frames per second. Lots of different frames right here, and there's going to be even more in the Pro version that we'll go over later. But what you should know about, the best one that Samsung offers for daytime and nighttime is FHD at 60 frames per second. Now, Samsung also does offer this in 4K, but it actually gets a lot noisier, or fuzziness comes in your video at night if you use it that way. Now, 60 frames per second looks a lot better. It's what this video is being filmed on, and it just pops. It looks more realistic. It looks more of a wow factor. 30 frames per second is, you know, what old time and every single smartphone in the world can shoot. Your $50 smartphones can shoot 30 frames per second. 60 frames though shows off the screens better, especially when screens are faster, when animations are happening, when things are moving. It shows it off so much better. This phone has a 120 Hz display, and you can't even show that on 30 frames, but you can on 60. So really is a lot better overall, and definitely one that I recommend. Now, the other great form is at 24 frames per second. You can only shoot this in 8K, and honestly, the 8K isn't good here. It still stutters, it still stumbles, so I wouldn't really recommend it. However, you can shoot in 24 on the Pro mode, which we'll go over later again. And here you still have your multiple cameras to go into, or again, you can slide as well. So that doesn't change even in video mode. The other thing you should know about though is, besides your tap to focus, you do have auto framing, which just basically tries to auto frame so that you have a person in frame more than anything else. So it basically takes people over objects so that they're in frame, and if you move away from it, then it will focus on another person. So that's auto framing. I don't like it too much, but it's just something you have. It also reduces your frame rate to 30 FPS. Now you do have super steady shot, which you can do at 60 frames per second. So this is really good if you are in a low light situation, though it won't be as good. Now what I mean by that is this basically uses the wide angle camera to stabilize your shot more. Now this is again going to be really good in daytime where the wide angle camera does really good, but unfortunately in very low light you do not want to use super steady. So just know that overall you don't want to use it when using this. And now we're going to go into the more category and show you all the different things you can do. So these are my personal favorites, and it's up to you if you want to use them as well. So I like pro video. I like portrait video. Put that one over here. I like director's view. I would recommend slow motion over super slow motion. Just so you know, super slow motion films only at 720p, and yes, it's slower, but it doesn't look that good. Slow motion is the best one if you typically shoot in that. I don't shoot in slow motion that often. I don't do panoramas that often, and I don't take food shots that often, but those are all good ones to do for anything else. Portrait mode, most of you guys will know, obviously, it does a fake blur effect, which again, you don't usually need with the Ultra, but on the other phones you can definitely use. So what we can do is take a photo here, and it will give a actual blur effect that isn't real, but it tries to get it. Now, it does a much better job than the last year's versions do with hair and things like that, but it's still not perfect. So just know that. And you can also do a couple of things here too. So you can change the blur effect. I typically recommend doing it to 2 or 3. It looks more natural, looks better off overall. So if you are gonna do a portrait shot, do it at a 2 or 3 blur effect. I typically do it at 3. And then you can also do all these other things. So you can have like a kind of different effect there in terms of the lighting for it. You can change it in terms of a monochrome look, more shadowy monochrome, a backdrop to it, and again you can change the effect that you want on it. And you can also do everything else black and white and color pops. This is my personal favorite. I love a color pop, so this is the one probably I would like the most. But yeah, those are the different effects you can do in your portrait, and you can also do that in portrait video. Now there's also director's view. Now this is a really cool one, but you should know its limitations. So first off, you can take yourself as a video, move it around, simple and easy, and you can also flip it and be the center stage and flip it around. But basically what this is designed for is for vlogging, and you can use the main camera, the wide angle camera, or the zoom in camera on your rear camera. So you can use all of those, and you can download them together or you can separate them. That's what this is showing you as to do one video or separate 2 different videos, however you want to do it when it comes to editing. Now you can also do it just one shot, so only single view, and switch between the 3 cameras very easily. Don't know, this doesn't work out too necessary for director's view, but the other one is split screen. So I like this personally because it's a really cool way to do a vlog. And yeah, just to be able to kind of do this is pretty cool, just to be able to show off what you're talking about. Again, really cool way. This is ideal for vlogging. That would be the most reason to use this. And now pro video. Pro video is going to be the best reason to use when you are using a Bluetooth microphone. So if you need to shoot a video and you're very far away, you can actually use a Bluetooth mic instead of the built-in mic on Pro Video mode. So what you need to know right in here, you can instead go of Omni front and rear, so recording yourself or recording what's on the outside. you can actually record Bluetooth here, or USB if you have an external microphone that plugs through Type-C. So this is going to give you the best overall audio quality. Obviously, you can plug in any Bluetooth pair of headphones and really do a much better job sound quality wise. Then finally, you see a lot more frames per second here that you can utilize on here. So over here, you can do 24 frames per second. This gives you a very cinematic look. This is what every movie is shot in. So if you want it to look more of a cinematic style, 24 frames per second FHD will be the best way to do it. Again, you can shoot in 4K, but it's not gonna look as good in low light. So I just leave it as Pro, 24 frames. And for my regular video, I put it in 60 frames. So that way, no matter what kind of video quality I want to shoot, it's better than 30. So before I leave you, I do want to let you know a couple of different ways you can edit the photo to make it really stand out. First thing you should know is in these 3 dots, there are 2 things that are really important to know. First one is remastering a picture. Remastering a picture will actually allow you to remaster an older time photo and make it look newer. So if you take a photo of a printed photo from a long time ago and it doesn't really look that good anymore, remaster photo will do its best to make it look more modern. So that is a really good tip to know. The next thing is add portrait effect. It will basically do digital, not natural, blur effect on the background to make it really pop. This can be really good, especially for social media. Then we have the edit functions here alone. First of all, you do have an auto function. So if you just want Samsung to basically, hey, I think this is the photo you want, this one actually came out pretty good. It's very vivid, very bright, all that kind of stuff that I think would do well on social media. So it has that ability to do that with cropping, with filters, with everything. It just does its automatic editor. And I think that one would look kind of good on social for sure. Now here you can actually do what type of crop you would want. If you want to crop anything right there, simple and easy to do. You can change the aspect ratio, you can flip something, but you can also draw around something. And hopefully it will get what you want. You can select more and everything, but basically it will get rid of everything else if you want to, say, do some light Photoshop kind of style work. Right here, you have auto again. So this is just auto doing the coloring and everything that you think it would want. Again, very usually social media reflective. So I would test out this if your photo doesn't come out, and then lots of filters you can go through. The other thing you should note is all the different editors here. So you can change balance, lighting, shadow, saturation, tint, temperature. All these kind of things are more advanced photo editing, but you do have that ability as well. And then you also have here, so if you want to add text, drawing, or stickers, you can do that as well. Basically all there. Then you also have some more advanced features. So first thing is resizing, I would say is one of the most important things to know about. And that is resizing will actually make it so that it is a smaller image per se. So you can send it via text message or email, especially if you're sending a lot of emails. This one will make it a lot easier for you. You also have color spot, which does what I love, which is just changes one thing color and everything else black and white. I just love that feature. You also have object eraser. You can hit these 3 dots and erase an object in the background. In this case, I want to erase this. So I can erase it and it'll do its best to get rid of it. Not always a perfect shot, but great for more like scenes. If you have a lot of stuff, a lot of people walking in the background, something like that, it'll do okay. But I would say Google's is a little bit better than this one. Then you also have style, which does give you different like effects of like, again, mostly just filters kind of style, but they really do nice sometimes in how they are presented. So some pretty cool, nice looking effects. And then some that are not here are face effects, which if you take a picture of a face, you can do different effects to it. Also save as a copy instead of the real thing. And if it's available in this, it's not, but you can also erase a reflection. So if you have a reflection in a mirror, you won't see it anymore. Great when you're taking photos through a like department store window or something like that. That will come in handy a lot for that. And getting rid of a shadow when you don't want it as well. All right, guys, and that is the video. Hopefully you did like it. Make sure to give a like, thumbs up if you did. And if you haven't checked out already our tips and tricks video on how to save 5 hours of battery life on this phone, you should probably take a look. Thank you as always for watching. This has been RICKY, the YouTube Tech Guy. Thank you so much again for watching. Make sure to subscribe, like, and comment down below. Also follow us on social media at YouTube Tech Guy, and check out some more great tech videos on your screen right now.